jingle bells, jingle all the way, and hello to all of our wonderful listeners out there. This is the Voices from the Vortex for a very special Christmas! Woo-hoo! Christmas special!
Yeah!
It's exciting.
It is very exciting. You know what?
This isn't even the Christmas episode. This is just the special for the Christmas episode.
Yeah. We'll talk about the episode after it airs. Right now, we're just going to kind of talk about some things because we've got some time between. So we're like, well, let's do something and put something out there. I'm Taylor, by the way. Let's go ahead and do that.
And I am Matt. That is true. That is a truth. I am Matt.
We're the two dudes from Gallifrey. Woo! And Matt, I got to tell you, I think I am more excited about this episode of Doctor Who than I have been for any episode coming up, to watch any of them. Mm-hmm.
I share in that 100%.
I don't know what it is about it. I think here's the big thing. The one thing I really love about Doctor Who is the change that happens. There's the big thing. They change actors for the Doctors. They do that, and then they change companions every once in a while. And then when you got to Matt Smith, we're going to change what the TARDIS looks like inside. We're going to change what, we kind of changed the theme a little bit, everything. And they just do really cool stuff and change the sonic screwdriver. And there's going to be some change happening in this one. And I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
Well, you're right. It's going to be a good change, though. We are now at a new sort of jumping on point, which is really cool. And that it's the Doctor post all the stuff that's happened to Matt Smith. It's not just the Tennant and the Eccleston stuff that he was holding on to now. It's just the Matt Smith stuff. So you're right. We got a list of new things coming up.
Yeah. First things first, we're going to talk about these minisodes that have been coming out because they're technically canon. They're part of the story.
Mm-hmm. Always canon. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about them. The first one is called The Great Detective.
The Great Detective.
Yes. Not The Great Mouse Detective. That's a different...
Oh.
That's
but they should do a mouse cartoon version of Doctor Who.
Oh, that'd be good. The Mouse Doctor. I don't know. I can't... Doctor...
A Mouse Doctor?
Dr. Mouse. I don't know. I'm not a loss for... Anyway, so...
Why not? Dr. Mouse. There you go.
There we go. We got it. We have these three interesting characters in this one, and they're going to. I guess they're going to be in the Christmas episode, they're kind of setting this up. We have Madame Vastra.
Madame Vastra.
We have Jenny Flint.
Oh, Jenny.
And Strax. He's a Sontaran, and
you'll all remember these three characters previously from A Good Man Goes to War.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I didn't remember them at first, and then I had to... And then, I'm online looking up stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they were there from that. They were kind of helping him. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I read that was interesting was I thought Strax died in... A Good Man Goes to War. He dies, doesn't he?
So this is earlier in his timeline.
That's what I'm thinking. It's either that or I thought he was mentioning something about clones in A Good Man Goes to War, wasn't he?
If you remember from Tennant, all of the Sontarans, they're all grown in clone batches. This was one particular Sontaran that, he was paying for something that had happened. Yeah. That's always possible. This is a new clone of his. Yeah. But I like the earlier in the timeline theory. I like that better. And that's very Doctor Who because very Matt Smith Doctor Who because Matt Smith doesn't seem to have. We're following him. Yeah. No one else. And everyone else sort of conforms to whatever his timeline is. Right. So he shows up and there's River Song again. You're really not sure where. In the timeline, he and River Song are, or there's that moment, and oh hey, look, there's that big blue dude. Yeah, oh he's great. Wait, didn't he have his head cut off? Yeah. And you're just like, okay, well, whatever. All right, that's he. But the Doctor never reveals. He always lies. So this Doctor, who's constantly meeting people in different parts of their time stream, even more so than the other Doctors, doesn't say anything about it.
Right. Yeah. So they come to him with all these sort of, I guess, Madame Vastra. She's a detective in this Victorian London town.
Yes.
And she, she helps solve these mysteries. People are okay that she's like, they call her the Lizard Woman or whatever. And they come to him.
Have you seen her? They should call her the Lizard Woman.
Well, she's a... Oh, yeah, we should... we never mentioned that. She is a... oh, jeez.
Lizard Woman?
No, she's one of the... Yes, she is, but what are they called? They're called... They were in season 5 with where they dug down to the... And on dinosaurs, on a spaceship. They were the people who had the spaceship. It was the...
yes.
Oh, people are screaming at me right now. What is the name of it? It's the... Oh, curses. One of those things. Anyway.
I'm just going to sit and listen. I'm going to wait and see what happens here, because...
It's not going to come to me. It's not going to, so we'll move on. And maybe it'll come to me later, and I'll just scream it out.
I'm going to tell you at the end of all this, and you're going to hate yourself.
Oh, so you do know what it is, and you're just teasing me.
Of course.
Oh, you jerk. Okay, so anyway... They come to him with all these crazy mysteries and stuff, and like Strax wants to declare a war on the moon.
Well, it wouldn't.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's just sitting up there waiting. Waiting.
Hey, they've mentioned several times in the show that there are things on the moon, and this
Silurian.
is not.
She's a Silurian. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Go on.
I wondered how long. I was counting it on a watch.
I was as you were talking, I wasn't listening. I was just thinking, okay, what are they called?
The Silurians.
Silurians, yes, she's a Silurian. Anyway, continue.
No, just they've mentioned several times so far. Silurians, man. Yeah. How could you have... Okay, they've mentioned several times now that there's the possibility that people or something are living on the moon. Just real drop-in sort of references. And so maybe that's a little more sort of playing to that...
Yeah.
Playing to that, saying he, hey, okay, yeah, there's some declaring war on the moon. Well, why not? There'd be something there.
Well, there's always stuff on Doctor Who where you think, oh, that's just some one line, but then, like, you go back and you're like, oh, maybe there was something to that crazy moon talk.
Moon talk.
Oh, Strax and your crazy moon talk.
I love Strax.
I do, too. I love the Sontarans. They're just so goofy.
Well, and they are. Like, they're meant to be. They're good villains for kids to identify. So, oh, look, you get the Daleks. The Daleks are kind of scary when they're not being cheesy. You get the Cybermen. The Cybermen are scary,
Yeah.
The Weeping Angels are scary. But then you get the Sontarans, and they're just sort of toy soldiers.
Yeah.
And you gotta laugh at them.
The Potato Man.
Strax himself with he's just so different.
Yeah.
He's so different.
So they come to the Doctor, and the Doctor in this, he's kind of dressed like Scrooge, which is kind of a cool little costume. And I think we'll talk about that later, but he's kind of got this cool outfit for this episode.
Yes.
Yeah. And he says, "I'm retired," and where you're like, "What?"
Dun 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 dun.
That's the dun 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 in that episode right there, or in that little minisode. He says he's retired. And I'm assuming he's retired because he's sad because, the pawns he lost the pawns and he's just sad. And it's like, he's like, why should I help people anymore? This is, it's one of those things.
Mm-hmm. It's clear that he's that affected by removing of the pawns from his life that,
right.
There's still a lot of questions as to what Matt Smith as the Doctor knows and what he doesn't. How often did he know that there was, did he know that the end was coming first?
Yeah.
For the pawns, had he done that first and then couldn't say anything, or not? But I don't know. He does seem to be very just affected by it, and because of that, he's not doing anything. He's not He's not investigating. He's not trying to save humanity. He's done.
Yeah.
He has given up. He has quit.
Yeah. The next one we'll talk about is the other minisode that came out a few days ago. It was called Vastra Investigates. And this one was just kind of silly. It was like her and Jenny are there and like at some house where they've like just solved a crime, solved some mystery, and the guy is talking to them, and he's like everything they say, he's like, oh my. He's like, oh, he's your assistant? He's like, no. And he's like, oh my, no, we're together. Yeah. It's just like, that's not your skin. I'm an alien from outer space. Oh my.
Now, I like to point out too, until this show, until 2005, Doctor Who has never been sexual, it's never been political, it's never done any of that stuff. It's never been a show where you look to and go, he was talking about this thing though, and this thing's important, this means something to people. It was Doctor Who. Yeah. So when Davies brought it back, I mean, and keep in mind too, from this stance, I don't care. I think it's great, but a lot of people have a problem with how much not homosexuality is in it, but homosexuality for homosexuality's sake. You know, how many characters need to be gay, and why do they have to go out of their way to point that out? And I feel this is a perfect example of Stephen Moffat saying, I'm going to write something kind of funny, but it's going to be, hey, they're gay. Okay.
Well,
that could have been a drop-in line that was implied. You didn't need to make a whole thing about it.
Yeah, it's in such an old-timey, old Victorian London town time period that the people, it's just funny that it's shocking to them when it's not really shocking to us anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the funny part. I thought everyone was actually pretty cool with this lady who is like looks like a lizard. And the guy who looks like a potato. Yeah.
What does he say? Was he from Norway or something?
Yeah.
It's just like,
yes. I just thought that was, and they
it's a Conehead moment.
Yeah, and they respect them enough to like call them like, hey, we have a problem. Can you help us out? I just thought that was interesting. Yeah.
It's interesting that they have all these preconceptions of these people, that Madame Vastra is not a Silurian, that she's just got a skin condition.
Yeah.
And then she has to point it out, like as if that has never been brought up before, or she's never corrected it before.
Yeah.
But this one time she feels like, I can be cheeky and do this.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a really weird kind of prologue, because I am assuming it leads right into, because the snow is falling but there's no clouds, and that's
the
big thing about the
end,
Christmas special.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a really weird minisode just to throw out there. Like,
it was. I liked the end where they're like, the snow is, and they're like, but there's no clouds.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was
very kind of creepy.
Yeah. And that's what that's what the thing is about, is the snow, and we'll talk about some things that we know are going to happen in this one, and we're very excited.
Mm-hmm.
So, now it's time for... Oh my god, that promo!
Oh my god, that promo!
Now, this time
on a spaceship.
Yeah. On a spaceship. Now, this time it's more, oh my god, those promos, because there's been at least 3 or 4 by now.
Quite a few. And there's also been just some news that we've heard, and we're going to talk about all of this. So if you don't want to be spoiled about some changes that's going to happen to the show or some certain things, probably not listening to this podcast.
You probably wouldn't be.
I'm just saying.
We won't be offended. It's okay. We're not going to go into plot details because we don't know them, but we're going to talk about some things that we know are going to be different. So, okay, first of all, the promos. Okay, there's a lot of... I like the thing with the snow's got, like, teeth and eyes. Have you seen, like...
Oh, the creepiest looking villains I've ever seen, though.
No, I'm not talking about the snowmen yet. The snow, like the snowflakes. Have you seen, like, a close-up of a snowflake yet?
Oh, yeah.
And it's, like, got these little slinty eyes and these little teeth.
Well done, Moffat.
Yeah, those are nice. I like that. Because that's like they're almost like nanobots or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like little snowflake nanobots that come together and make one creepy-looking snowman, which
could very well be what they are.
Yeah, that's a good guess. Hey,
way to ruin it. Way to spoil it for me. Dude, I did not want spoilers.
We'll see if I'm right.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a bad guy, and he's like, I said I'd feed you. I didn't say who to. And the guy's like, in the snow. And then we get to see Clara, and she's in there.
She has an understanding of the Doctor.
Yeah, she says.
That moment,
yeah, she's telling her kids something. Like, there's a man called the Doctor. He lives in a cloud. So I'm assuming Matt's or the Doctor. He's got his TARDIS up in a cloud, like just stored away up there. And he climbs a big ladder, climbs a big spiral staircase or a ladder to get up to it. From what I've seen from the promo, so that's just kind of funny. Like, why is it in the cloud? Why can't you just start it? And then there's creepy snowmen. Those things are with like shark teeth. They have like rows of teeth.
They do.
It's really creepy. Let's see. Anything else you can think of? I can't really.
It all seems actually very straightforward. You get Strax sort of investigating with the Doctor to get a little bit of comedy. Madame Vastra is there. We see the Doctor. There's a brief moment where you see the Doctor in a. You see the TARDIS behind him, but he's in some sort of laboratory. So I'm guessing this is his area, his space where he can do little science experiments.
Yeah,
the Doctor has always been a science guy, you know.
Yeah, and there's something with a big globe, like a big glass ball, like a big snow globe looking thing. There's something with that too. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. And there's an interesting line in one of the promos where he's holding Claire's head. He goes, "Claire, the snow's feeding off your thoughts." I'm like, feeding off your thoughts? That's new. That's interesting.
Emotional weather.
Yeah. Wonder how that's gonna
weather motes.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. And the other thing, the one really line that I love in one of these promos is Clara grabs the Doctor by the hand, and he's like, "No, what are you doing? The hand grabbing, the pulling, that's mine. I usually do that." I love that. I think that's just...
That it's sort of a reversal.
Yeah, it's great. Because he's not into, he's retired. He doesn't really want to do these things, and I think, she's going to be this person who's going to pull him out of his funk. Mm-hmm. All right, right now, real quick, before we go, we're going to talk about some changes that are happening that we're really excited for.
Oh, yeah, okay, so...
Okay, the first big one, obviously, is there's a new companion.
That's a huge one, too.
That's a huge one. I'm going to say About Time.
Yeah.
I love the Ponds, but they were there for a really long time. They've been the longest companion in this new series.
Since the new show started. Since the new show.
I mean, Rose was there for 2 years, and then they went 2.5, and just a little longer. And I'm like, we haven't seen anybody else with this new Doctor. Mm-hmm. It's always been the same people.
Right. Well, and they played their story through. It wasn't just, with Rose, it was Rose and the Doctor. Rose makes the Doctor better, then Rose and the Doctor fall in love. And then with Martha, it was Martha is in love, but it really isn't. And then with Donna, it's the best friend and she loses the memory. Then you get Amy, and it's Amelia, it's Amy, she doesn't know who she is, she loves the Doctor, she doesn't love the Doctor, she loves Rory doesn't exist, and then they get married.
Much more complicated.
And that's just season 5. Yeah. Then you get to season 6, and we're a married couple, there's a baby, it's River Song, and now we're the in-laws. And there's all this to see, and then of course the Doctor saying, "I can't have you here anymore," leaving him behind. The Doctor's going to die, and then they come back.
Yeah, and then this first half of season 7 is just, okay, we know you're going to leave at some point.
Yeah, what kind of adventures can we have up until then?
Real quick, let's kind of close out some storylines about, and sort of tease you dying or whatever, and yeah.
I actually thought it would have been a bigger shock had they not died.
Yeah,
they survived all the way through, and you would have had them in addition to Clara.
Yeah, Yeah. That would have been really interesting. The other thing about this, though, is... Well, I'll get to that in a second. The other big thing... Do you want to say it? You want to go for it?
Mm-hmm. So, well, okay. No, hold on.
Oh, okay. No,
Before we get to that one, the Doctor changes his outfit.
Yes, that's what I was mentioning earlier. He's kind of dressed like Scrooge in this one, but I think they're going to kind of go towards kind of what that is. He's not going to wear that hat all the time.
And what we're looking at is, Doctor Who's about change. When the Doctor changes, a big thing was always he picks his outfit. And then you have... Eccleston didn't change at all. And then you have...
Well, he changed the color of his sweater every once in a while, but that was...
That's nothing. It went from dark something to dark something.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's not changing the color of your sweater. That's... Eccleston, for all intents and purposes, Eccleston was Eccleston. And he looked good at being Eccleston.
Yeah, he was great.
Then he got Tennant. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said he was great.
Aw. See, folks, we agree on so much.
Yes,
it's true.
You'd think it'd be more interesting if we didn't agree.
I think Eccleston wore 1,000 outfits. Oh, I win.
Yeah.
But Tennant had a lot of different outfits going on. He did the brown with the blue pinstripe. He did the blue with the red pinstripe. He did the tuxedo. These were different variations on it. Then you get Smith, and Smith has been progressively changing his outfit as the show goes on, and that was something that Matt Smith wanted to do from the very beginning. He said, I get to pick my outfit, but it shouldn't stay the same. I'm going to change as a Doctor.
Yeah.
Therefore, the outfit should change.
Now, I don't think I was going to say, I don't think they're going to let him change it completely, but I think, he's always going to be wearing a bow tie is going to be one of the things.
Right. Well, and if you've seen any of the stuff from Going Beyond this Christmas special, as we'll talk about, obviously, when we get there, but he's wearing much more of a three-piece gray suit.
Yeah.
He looks more like a professor than he does like the Doctor.
It's not the tweed jacket anymore with this suspenders. It's going to be this suit, which I think is cool. I think it's I think that's fine. I mean, he's going to still look similar. He's got the bow tie,
certainly,
and
but this outfit fits this adventure. The Scrooge. Just a couple Christmases ago, he was talking about how he was Ghost of Christmas Past. He couldn't stand a Scrooge, and now he is a Scrooge.
Yeah.
And it's really neat to see that. Yeah. But all that is preamble to the thing that's really changing.
The TARDIS.
Inside of the TARDIS.
Holy cow, this is the biggest thing. Okay, here's what I wanted to say about this. They changed it for the new show, obviously. As soon as Eccleston came in. And then they didn't change it for Tennant, really. I mean, they may have a little bit. I didn't really notice it, but it may have cleaned it up a little bit or something. I don't know.
Very subtle changes.
It's very subtle if they did anything. Then they changed it big time for Matt Smith. But I still feel like it was still kind of the same when it was Matt Smith and David Tennant. Like, it was still orange and like a cave, kind of. Except Matt's was like more shiny. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it still had the same feel. This one is like these old pictures I've seen of the old show where it's like this white room. And it looks more... The colors are more white and blue. It's more futuristic looking instead of like steampunk looking.
And that's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. Good. I like this new look. I love the console. I like the idea that the whole interior is going to change. We've only seen it from one angle.
Well, yeah.
Haven't really seen it from too many angles, but
and it's got some cool.
I do like.
It's got some cool Gallifreyan symbols like around the top, like.
Yes,
they've shown that part. That was pretty cool.
And that's neat stuff. Now here's my thing. I love the steampunk. I love the sort of look of the TARDIS that Smith has had so far because it's so
I was okay
beautiful and different and the stuff with Eccleston and Tennant was cool to see the TARDIS again after 20 years, but it was just so alien. I didn't identify with the TARDIS.
Yeah, I'll have to say that this new thing I think is going to be my favorite. The other two, I liked them, but it was like I was just like, oh, that's what it looks like. But now that I have some reference points of like different ones, I'm like, oh, I think this one's going to be my favorite. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And the last thing that real quick, last thing is the theme song. They said they're going to do something in the opening titles. They're going to spruce it up a little bit. They're going to change the arrangement a little bit. Mm-hmm. Which I think, here's the one thing I think is really interesting. They're doing this in the middle of a season, which is weird. Because it's almost
it's definitely a shift in direction.
Right. Because that's what I want to say, because usually they change, like, the first time they changed it, it was every season, they kind of changed the theme song a little bit with Tenet, and then, by the fourth season, it was like, da-da-da-da, it was awesome, and then they changed they changed it drastically when you got to season 5 with Matt Smith, and then this time it's like, they're not changing it for a new Doctor, like, it's like now that we have a new companion, it's like this is a different show.
I think we're really going to look back on Matt Smith's tenure as the Doctor, and we're going to see him as the Doctor of Change.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to, depending on how long he stays and how long Clara stays, I think we're going to say, oh, that was the Pond, era of the Doctor. And this was the Clara era.
And then the Clara era.
The Clara era. That's awesome. And then... and then...
So what are you watching? The Clara era?
Yeah. And then if there's another one, whatever. So, like, they could even, like, put out a box set. Like, oh, this all the Pond episodes, like they've done, like, all the David Tennant episodes.
Sure.
Yeah, they would do, like, oh, this is the Pond episodes. Because it's, like, a whole different... we get a new TARDIS for a new companion. I think that's a really interesting thing they're doing there.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see it all. They did say the new theme song will harken back to, or at least, I guess, be an homage to the original theme song.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
So that's going to be interesting, because the original theme song was all done on what seemed like half-filled wine glasses.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly...
I don't know if
just
I like
on the rims,
it. We'll
just
see.
on the rims.
Yeah. I have a really strong attachment to the season 4 theme song. So,
well, and so far all the reviews online that are coming out, the reviewers who have already seen it are saying how much they love it and how great it is.
I'm sure it'll be great then.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I know there are fans out there, friends of mine and people I don't know, that are all very anti-Moffat and pro-Davies and hate the stuff Moffat's doing, and that's fine. Hey, you know what? I can understand where you just don't like something about a character you love and you're waiting for the next guy to take over.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, this is still Doctor Who, and man, Moffat's here for a while.
I think
throw yourself into it.
Yeah, I love Tennant more, but at the same time, I still loved it. It's like I think here's how I explain it. My favorite Doctor is Tennant, but so the show has been way better since then. Like, the show is getting better, but I still think the other guy was better. But that doesn't mean I don't think the show isn't good. I think the show is amazing.
Right.
So
a lot of people don't like Moffat's writing or his scripting, and
it can be confusing. But hey, that's so can other things.
He does do, sometimes enjoyable. He does a little too much or a little too less, but
yeah. Well,
all right.
Hey, that was great. Hey, very excited.
Christmas special coming up.
Yeah, we will see you guys after that Christmas special, and we are going to talk about it. And we are probably going to be
recording this. I mean, it's only like 5 days away.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's coming up. I'm very excited to watch it. So you guys have a good Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you guys celebrate out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
or
hey,
if
listen,
you just
remember,
celebrate Doctor Who,
this Christmas or holiday of your choice, make sure you give thanks that the moon is still just waiting. Yes,
it's not. We don't need to declare war on it just yet.
Not yet.
No, you guys have a good one.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye-bye.